once again, comic addicts. This is Joe from Black Box Silver and Bronze. Today I've got something a little different. Let's find out what's in this box here. Hey, comic addicts. I got something a little bit different. I don't know if you recognize that box, but that's a box from CGC. So I sent off 10 comic books to be slabbed. Now, these comic books are not for investment or speculation. They're just for my personal display. I like to get some of the train comic covers that I really like, put into slabs so I can display them on the wall. To me, I'm just paying to have it framed. So I'm not looking for any kind of, return on investment here, anything like that. Because I know sometimes I'll be out and I'll see a comic book that's in a slab and it's not worth investment-wise the price it costs to get it slabbed. But I understand somebody did that sometime, probably, for their own personal enjoyment. So that's what these are. So don't expect to see anything super high value here. But there is something interesting that resulted from me slabbing these 10 comics. I'm going to share that with you. These comics, some of them came from my local comic shop. Some of them came from my comic shop in Texas, and some of them came from MileHighComics in Denver. And so I'm going to tell you where they came from when I show them to you. And I'm going to share with you the grade it was before I sent it in, what I was told it was when I purchased it. And then we'll see the grade that I actually got. At the end, I'll do a summary. And we'll see, how was the grading of the people I bought these from? Was it on target or off? We'll find that out. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. The first one I have is a comic book called Target. This is from Atlas Comics. And Atlas was a company that some of the people that were working at Marvel broke away, and they were trying to make a comic book company in the 70s to compete with Marvel. So they created about 10 or 15 different comics, and basically they covered all the same genres that Marvel was covering. There was like a swamp monster, a werewolf, a superhero, a shield type agent, a spy, a Western, a teen humor. And so this one, Target, this is Target number 2. I bought this from MileHighComics. They told me it was very fine, 8.0, and it came back as a 6.5. So I don't really care. I would like to get the grades that I pay for, but I'm not trying to necessarily get a super high grade, to make money on this. This is just so that I could display it on the wall. And so it's that standard trope of the train barreling down on some people that are fighting. So this one I sent off. I thought it was an 8.0, came back as a 6.5. Okay, the second one, I just bought this. This is a modern comic. I bought this off of the rack at my local comic shop. This is from April of this year, and it's Radiant Black number 2, the second printing. And so I did read the first issue of Radiant Black, and it was okay. It wasn't something that I was going to follow along. But when I was in the store and I just saw this one on the shelf, I just really liked that artwork with the elevated train and the superhero on top of it. I thought it was a really nice piece to look at. And that was brand new. And I got a 9.8. And I should say that I didn't do anything to any of these comics as far as cleaning or pressing them. I just, received them, bagged and boarded them if they were, if they weren't already bagged and boarded. And then when I got my stack together, I sent them off. The next comic I got from my comic shop, and it's Adventure Strip Digest number 2. They sold it to me. They said it was a 6.0, and it came back as a 9.0. That makes you happy, doesn't it? And I really like the image that you see here. It's from Russia with Love, and it just has that sense of kind of like a World War II escape from authority going on there. And so that's Adventure Strip Digest. Number 2, WCG Comics, April 1995. All right, what's the next one? The original Black Cat. So I am a big fan of the original Black Cat. A female superhero, Golden Age superhero, and then on into the Silver Age. And this is a reprint of some of her stories. This is original Black Cat number 7, Lauren Harvey Publications from 1991. I got this one from MyComicShop. They said it was an 8.0, and it came back as an 8.5. It's a Lee Elias cover, and it's just so cool with that train in the background, and that's the Black Cat there. And so I really enjoy the Black Cat comics and stories, and I try to find them. They're hard to find. I have 3 issues from the Harvey Silver Age time period. I don't yet have any of the original Golden Age ones, but I have 4 or 5 issues of this original Black Cat, which reprints them from the Golden Age. And so this is a nice way to find them affordably if you want to enjoy the stories and artwork without trying to hunt down the Golden Age ones, which are tricky to find. Okay, this next one, I got this at my local comic shop, and this was a great deal. They were having a sale. He has this great sale where he puts out all these boxes of dollar comics, and if you buy, I think it's 30 or 35, once you get to 30 or 35 comics, he gives you a short box, and then that's it. You can fill the short box up and you don't pay anything else. So once you hit 30 or 35, you pay, let's say it's 35, you pay $35, you get a short box, and then you can just fill it up. So the price of the comics comes down. So I found this in one of those sales, and I just grabbed it because it's a train cover, and it's Creatures of the Id #1 from 1990. And so I got a 5.5 on it. And what I found out is that this was a really good find, because this is the first appearance of Frank Einstein, who becomes Madman, Mike Allred's comic hero, Madman. And so this is actually, this goes for a couple of $100 if you can find it. It's hard to find. I guess it was a low print run. It's from Caliber Press, and kind of a low print run. It's kind of hard to find, but if you do find it, it goes for a couple of $100. It's got a wraparound cover, so that's pretty cool. So this is one of the best finds I ever had. Now, all of these comics, I didn't do it. I just sent them in as I got them. This one, now that I know that could be worth something, the grader's notes said that there were some bends on the back cover. I didn't see those, but maybe I'll find somebody who can clean and press it for me, and I'll resubmit it, see if I could bump it up since it's worth something. Okay, the next one is also just a local pickup at another local comic shop. This is Wild Wild West #1, Millennial Comics from 1990. And I got an 8.0. I just pulled this, out of his dollar boxes. And this is an early Adam Hughes cover. So that's pretty cool. And then it's also a wraparound cover. They're aiming their guns at these guys over here. Wild Wild West #1. Okay, and then the rest of them were either from MyComicShop or MileHighComics. So let's see how we did. The next one is The Spirit, number 80, Kitchen Sink Press. I got a 6.0 on it. And when I bought it from MyComicShop, they graded it as a 6.0. So this came back what they said it was. And I love that cover. He's tied up there, and the train's barreling down the track. I think that's pretty cool. You don't get to see the train, you see the tracks. You see the headlights, there's impending doom. Pretty cool. All right, the next one, this is from Mile High Comics. This is a reprint of Vault of Horror by Gemstone in 1997. And the original version was pointed out to me on Instagram by Rutger. And he knew I liked train covers, and he pointed one out to me. And I was actually looking for the original one, but it's really expensive. Like, I could only find really low grade copies with like covers detached and missing pieces and tape, and they were like $500-600. So I then found out that Gemstone reprinted it, and so I grabbed this one from Mile High Comics, and it came back as a 9.0. This is Vault of Horror number 19 by Gemstone reprint. Mile High Comics told me this was a 9.4, and it came back as a 9.0. So not good there. But I'm not really upset about the grade. Like I said, I just wanted to get this basically framed for hanging on the wall. That's a great cover. I would like to maybe find the original someday, but one thing that's really nice about these reprints is they're in great shape, and the colors really pop. And that's a nice gruesome train cover. Okay, two more. This one is from MyComicShop. This is the Cases of Sherlock Holmes #2, Renegade Press from 1986. And I got a 9.2 from CGC on it. And MyComicShop sold it to me as an 8.0. So that's much better than what they said it was. I love these Sherlock Holmes covers on Renegade Press. You can find these a lot in the dollar bin. And what you might not know, because it probably have a backer board on it, is that it's got a wraparound cover. And so if you can find these, and I find these in the dollar bins, they don't cost that much. I picked this one up from MyComicShop because I didn't find this particular issue, and it has the train cover that I really wanted. They're these beautiful painted covers, and they wrapped around. Now, the only thing to note is that the first maybe 10 or 12 issues were by this company, Renegade Press. They have the wraparound covers. And then this series continued by another publisher. In my mind, it's Eclipse. I don't know if that's right, but they do not have the wraparound covers. They're still good stories, and they have nice front covers, but they just don't have the wraparound covers. So that's Cases of Sherlock Holmes #2. And the last one is also from MyComicShop. And this is Crossed Badlands, #15 from 2012. And it's a 9.8. Can't do much better than that. And I bought it from MyComicShop. They said it was a 9.4, so higher than what they sold it to me for. The cover's by Raulo Caceres, Caceres, and these are really gory stories about like zombies, but I like his artwork. It's different, and I thought this was really cool. A scene that I hadn't seen before in the collecting of my train covers. So I got two kind of gory ones in this unboxing. I got this one, and then the one with the severed arm hanging. So I just want to kind of sum up my thoughts on Mile High Comics and MyComicShop. So I do not buy a lot of comics from Mile High Comics. When I got back into collecting and I was buying them online, I did buy from Mile High Comics because I was aware of them. I remembered them from when I was actually physically buying comics in the 80s and the spreads they had in the Marvel comics. So I was buying from them. And what I kind of felt was that like they always graded high. That was just my personal opinion. So here I sent out 2 comics from Mile High Comics, and both of them came back with a lower grade from CGC. than MileHighComics said. Now, I know grading's subjective, but let's see. The first one they said was an 8.0, and it came back as a 6.5. And the other one was a 9.4, came back as a 9.0. So it's subjective. Yeah, I get that. But, in an anecdotal experiment, and in my gut feeling, they grade their comics higher. So I don't buy a lot from them. I do whenever they have a 60% off sale. For some reason, their prices are always high, and then they have these sales that bring them down to normal price. And they'll have a 40% off sale, sometimes a 50% off sale, and once in a while a 60% off sale. And when they have the 60% off sale, if they have a comic I've been looking for that I haven't been able to find, I'll sometimes buy it from them, because that kind of brings the price back down into reality. Now, on the other hand, my comic shop, Buddy Saunders in Texas, I sent off 5 comics that I purchased from his store. My feeling has always been that they grade conservatively. Whenever I buy comics from them, my feeling was always like I was getting the grade, or maybe it was even better than they said. And so in this anecdotal experiment, I sent off 5 comics from my comic shop. 4 of them got higher grades than they said it was. And the one that didn't get a higher grade than they said it was the grade they said it was. So there was no lower grades from them. And I've always felt that that was the case, that I was like, their grades were always a little bit lower. So I was always felt like I was getting good deals from them. So I'm kind of curious. What do you guys think? Do you have the same experience? Do you buy from either of these places? And if so, put something in the comments. What is your experience? Do you have the same experience or different? Because this is obviously not a scientific experiment. It's just anecdotal. And I didn't send the same amount of comics from both companies. I only sent 2 from one and 5 from the other. So it's not a great experiment, but anecdotally, that's just kind of how I felt. And I'm really curious if other people feel that way. So something a little different. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of those chain comics from my collection. And thanks for watching and leaving comments. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.